Thank you for tuning in on a Sunday. Got a lot of golf sweats going on, which I'm going to start with, and then we're going to get to some baseball because I'm waiting for Rody anyway for baseball. He's popping in right now. And what's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Awesome. I can hear you. I can't see you, but maybe that's the way we're doing it today? Set it up.
Maybe. I don't know. Unable to access my camera. Oh, hang on. I figured out the issue.
Yeah, do your thing. I'm going to share my golf because I got some sweats in the big one, which would be cool.
There you go.
Yeah. I made a 1v1 pivot in golf that right now is costing me first place in the 555 or 80, whatever it was this week, the 100K. It's costing me first right now. Obviously there's ways to go, but I'm going to do a quick screen share, talk golf for like 2 minutes. And then here, let me just pull my DraftKings up here.
Yeah, I got a decent golf score going too for two guys missing the cut. I'm getting some money back. I'm in like 80th out of 350 on some, like 2,000 placed out of 11,000 entries with two guys missing the cut. That's how good the other four are.
Dude, I'm
pretty golf. You got to get it right.
Out of 55,000 with a 5 of 6 right now. 35th. That would have been the winner. I am right now. I'm going to show my just a couple of.
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with golf.
I didn't play that much. I played 20 of the 15 of the $15. I played one in the big one and one 200 single entry. I didn't really play like crazy this week, and kind of wishing I did. If I would have kept my same core, it would have been something beautiful because I had you can see right now. I mean, look, top 100 may not sound like much to people, but when you're talking about out of 62,000 people, I've got 3 in the top 100 all with shots, and I basically need to get a little bit of rider who no one has going. If he can shoot a few under for the day, maybe get a streak of some sort or hit an eagle again, that would be sweet. Kazire I could use to get going a little bit, and then my other guys haven't started, and then Patrick Reed's at 2 under through 5. He birdied 3 in a row and then just bogeyed. But these all 3 have a shot if things break my way. I need a little bit more from Kazire right now, a little more from Sam Ryder, but certainly got shots here.
Nice.
The 470s are good, and then I've got some other ones that I've got elsewhere that are kind of interesting. In the $5 monster thing, I think I literally have like 5 or I have 10 entries. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it was 10. I just literally was throwing in entries by hand builds today on this time. I didn't program anything, but let me see. And it's not currently obviously winning a ton, but it's I only have like 1,100 invested, but still it's it could be something really good. 41st now, but it's a pretty strong lineup with a lot of time left to go. Unfortunately, it's not differentiated enough to be off the board probably to get me there, but it's a pretty solid lineup all around. If Troy Merritt can get going, he hasn't started yet. Cam Davis was even. He shot 7 under today. He was the 1v1 pivot, which I'm going to get to real quick before we get into baseball because we got plenty of time for baseball. The 555 over here, I literally made a Grillo verse. That was the same lineup basically. I think that was the same one. I would either put it that or the 18, or 15. I mean, but the 5 of 6 I've got right here in the 555. If you throw, literally, it was a Grillo versus. I took Grillo over Cam Davis, and it's definitely costing me a shot. I'd be in first right now, with plenty of time left too. But Grillo obviously missed the cut, and right now Sam Davis, it's an extra 60 something points, which would put me. Actually, I don't think I'd be in first right now. I think I'd be in second. Yeah, I'd be in second. But it would have been at least a shot, and it's really frustrating because I really hate. I only was playing 1 this week, so I sort of hemmed and hawed over it, and it just ended up going the other way. So, but hey, good luck good luck to us in the 15, man. A 200K is a possibility, and that would be pretty sweet off of a total of 1,100 entry in entry fees and only like 300 in entry fees in that tournament. So that could be cool. I'm going to stop my screen share and we could talk some baseball, but just wanted to share. People like to talk about the sweats, so. Good luck to me. Good luck to anyone else who has 6 of 6 going and a chance. And good luck to you on cashing on the 4 and 5 out of 6s.
Yeah, I missed it just with Todd and Griffin both at -1. I think you guys said the cut was -2.
-2.
Yeah, so those guys got one more each. That would have had 6 of 6 on that lineup. And I got Tringale, I got Perez at 4th. I got some big guys going at here. I got a couple guys in the top 15 on the other two. So dang, so just missed out on that one. But
yeah, it feels like it just misses. Ugh.
I know. I only throw one lineup in, so it's not much to root for. But
you've been sometimes when you play these games and like you're just like, God, I like when it comes to golf, it's a little different, obviously. But like I was like, and it happens in baseball though too. I'm like, the variance is so high, but I'm just going, okay, Grillo might have a little bit of a higher ceiling than Davis in this particular tournament. I thought he would actually end up a little bit lower owned, which I was wrong about. They're at the same owned. And it was literally just I decided I had Cam Davis about 40% of my lineups, and I have Grillo in one lineup, and that's the one. That was the 555 that I stuck with it. I was like, okay, I'm going to make one different move just in this tournament. Frustrating, but anyway. Yeah. On to MLB for today, guys. What's up? Thanks for tuning in on Sunday. Really appreciate everybody. There's been a lot. I look and there's new signups every day. It looks like things are going pretty well. Sheets, unfortunately, is on a family thing today, so he's trying to update his stuff, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to without adequate Wi-Fi. But the man's hustling. Sometimes on the weekends we said it's going to be tough, but we're going to try and get you guys covered every day. But we're definitely getting you covered every day for the week. And on the weekends, it's going to be most of the time we have everything updated. From Sheets' end, I'll keep my stuff updated, but and we'll try and get some shows in with guys like Rody, which is awesome. And Neil wants to learn how to play better. We're here to help you with that. So, any specific questions, fire away, and we're going to talk through what we want to do on this slate. So, Rody, I'll start with you on this. Let's talk a little bit about who are we looking at? What are we playing? I've got some ideas of what to do that I think are going to be off the board somewhat.
Yeah, I don't know how the ownership's coming out today, but I'm looking at a little bit more going back to Tampa Bay Rays, I think, today. They're showing lower ownership. They're up there on the stack projections. I like the Rays. I like the Reds. If you guys were in on that yesterday on FanDuel, you could have made a nice combo for a nice lineup over there.
Yeah.
So those two teams I'm liking today. Boston Red Sox I'm getting a little bit of today too. Yep. Higher run total. Fewer guys are owned a little bit, but there's a couple guys pretty low on there that I like too. So Devers projects really well at low ownership. Big home run hitter guys, batting cleanup. So he might be my home run hitter of the day. So
I love the Devers call individually. I like so there's a lot of stacks to like in sort of a similar fashion, right? And so what I really did is I think that Tampa's a freaking awesome call, and they were sort of my question mark team that I don't have on my list of teams that I'm stacking. But I'm just going to say it because we're on air, so I'm not going to be able to update it. I will get myself a Tampa stack. I'm not playing a ton of lineups, but I really see the merit in it. The only issue here's my general issue with. Well, it's not an issue. It's the range of outcomes, right? Which is what you want to play. You have a young, really, really, really talented pitcher who can get wild, and then when he gets wild, that's when he tends to give up some power. He also can be dazzling, and literally, it wouldn't surprise me. I actually strongly considered McKenzie as an SP2 on DraftKings, and I actually even considered him because of his immense upside as a FanDuel starting pitcher when I was making my first lineup today. So it's really strange to like both sides like this, but McKenzie's the exact kind of example of a guy who you want to try and take shots on in the right matchups. With Tampa Bay's a high strikeout matchup, certainly could break his way. Pitching at home, I'm going to try and get the pitcher's umpire right now, neutral umpire. The problem is Tampa also has there's the flip side. They're pretty patient. They added Nelson Cruz, so they're much improved even offensively, whether or not you play Cruz or not. They've done extremely well versus right-handed pitching. It's a good lineup. So they can make you work at the same time. They do strike out. But the problem is, well, I guess not the problem is, the situation is, I guess I could see both sides of the argument on this one. But I do think Tampa Bay, because of the combustibility or whatever the word I like to say for McKenzie, for these young pitchers who can get wild, I think Tampa is an awesome call. And I don't think they're going to have ownership.
Yeah, they're coming in low on to me too. So what I got right now.
Yeah. On FanDuel, they may have some ownership.
Yeah, I haven't pulled up that yet. Let me do that.
So let's see. So because the thing is, I wanted to stack Houston because I don't believe in Texas's bullpen. here's my issue with stacking Houston, because they're my number 2 stack right now. Houston, the issue I have is you're getting a bullpen game from a team with a bad bullpen. Okay, that's good. The problem is you don't generally want a full stack against bullpen games, because generally guys they'll manage innings. It's much easier for a pitcher to go out, a bad pitcher even, to go throw 1 or 2 shutout innings. And my guess is Tampa Bay is becoming the first team in like 50 years, I think it is, something like that, to lose 10 games in a row without ever having the lead. That's kind of hard to do. So they've lost 11 in a row overall. I think that kind of narrative and that kind of stuff is going to make them, not that their best foot is anything good, but put their best foot forward somewhat and actually try to pitch guys 1 inning, 2 innings. You're not going to see the long relief unless somebody's just rolling, which obviously you don't want. But I do like the way Houston profiles quite a bit. I just wanted to throw that out there, because I want to stack Houston, but I'm a little bit hesitant, and maybe I will convert some of my bigger lineups over to the Rays, because I was already considering it. And you bringing it up firsthand and looking at the ownership is definitely something that could sway me on a slate where I was already iffy on that stack.
Yeah, I usually look at the top stacks that I got, kind of a list that I got, and then I kind of look at their ownership, and then that's where I kind of pulled the Rays, because, like you said, they're kind of lower owned. So I was like, well, good projection stack and a lower owned stack. That's kind of where we want to be to get different.
Yeah, CP makes a good point about Cleveland's bullpen being decent and rested. And the only problem is, if you look at most of their statistical numbers, I don't look. So they are playing the American League, right? Okay, they're in the American League Central. Look at their opponents, and I mean, Minnesota has been awful. I mean, it's not like they're playing against the AL East. So I don't give as much credit to Cleveland's bullpen as I would to like Tampa Bay, who's got an awesome bullpen, probably the best in baseball. But they don't have to pitch against quite as tough of teams as the Rays, Red Sox, and Yankees. And I think that even with a fresh bullpen, and while they'd have to get to McKenzie early, I think Cleveland is also in a position to try and let McKenzie figure things out. Like, look, if it's 4-3 or something early, if Cleveland scores early, that could change things a little bit. But if it's like 4 or 5-0 in let's say the 4th, and there's 2 runners on and 2 outs, they're not going to bring McKenzie out of that game. They're going to let him try to get to his pitches, because that's how they're treating their young pitcher. So that's my take on it. And also, you're right, it would be nice if they had to get to him early. Tampa Bay also one of the better teams in the league at scoring early in games. So just an interesting thing to think about there. They're pretty good off the bat for some reason. That those stats, you could say that they mean nothing. I think there's some merit to some things like that. Some hitters are good at attacking early in games. They understand how to approach games. Tampa Bay in general, I would say, is probably the best teams in terms of approach, along with the Dodgers, and going into every game. So I think they can get to McKenzie early. I also think McKenzie might strike out 7 guys in the first 3 innings and have it not give up a hit through 5. That's completely on the table. He's an awesome upside long shot GPP play. I'm looking at the weather real quick to see if there's anything that's going to affect what we're doing. In the meantime, why don't you talk a little bit? So you like Tampa? Who was the other one you said off the top?
Tampa, Reds. Reds are projecting good again. A couple of the guys there, I like them more as one-offs. Boston Red Sox was the other guy. I had Devers, but they're coming a decent. A couple of guys are higher owned, but decent low owned. You can do a stack there. I like Orioles are popping for point per dollar. I like them a little bit on FanDuel, actually. Like, you can put Mancini and Mountcastle.
Yep.
Both in the same lineup, and they're projecting really cheap guys over there on FanDuel too.
Well, I like that, because I did that already, so I kind of like that. Another one of these boom bust situations to me, and it's always really weird with a guy like Rich Hill, because you could see him have like 4 bad starts in a row, and then he'll have like a no-hitter through 7. He'll still have to pull him probably, because he'll throw 100 plus pitches by then, but he'll have a no-hitter with 10 strikeouts. He's got the stuff. Now, this is not a team that strikes out enough, and I do like the Toronto bats, but I don't want to stack them. I don't mind taking an expensive one-off of Vlad, of Teoscar, of anybody in the outfield, any of the righties. I would take a shot on it, including Bichette. But I don't think I want to fully stack them. I sort of treat them like the Reds, like you mentioned. The Reds have great value, especially on DK, but it's going to make them owned. I mean, you have Naquin and
very cheap.
And Aquino, who are 25 and 2,400. And then you've also got less pinch hit risk, because those are the 2 guys who get pinch hit for each other. Basically, they play for each other. And you also have a cheapish Jesse Winker based on what he's done overall this year at 4,600. Screwball is an interesting one. So it's really weird to want to take a pitcher in a game with a 10.5 run total for me. But I love Skuball's stuff, and he's extremely high variance with this in this matchup, in my opinion. I could see it going either way. I'm not getting. I did have him as one of my guys on my list. Every time I plug the button in, I don't quite end up clicking on him. I think I moved down to Caleb Smith with the wind blowing in Chicago ahead of Skubal. Another thing Skubal has got going though is for a guy who can occasionally, tries to be around the zone and nibble. You've got a great pitcher's umpire for Skubal, which by the way brings us to the guy who everyone's going to play, and I'm going to be playing a lot of too, and that's Yu Darvish. He's got Bill Miller behind the plate, who, as everyone knows out there, pretty much the best pitcher's umpire in baseball, and it's in Miami. So it's Darvish I'm fading him on FanDuel just to try and get a little bit not different. I just wanted to build differently. On DraftKings, I've got him in basically every lineup so far. How about you?
Yeah, I think I'm going with, I don't know. Yu's probably going to make all my DraftKings lineups. And then what are you thinking for FanDuel, though? Like, do you like just going down to Nola? Or do you think that's going to be too chalky, too? I mean, price difference is pretty decent on from you to Nola. Or are you going to go farther down?
Nola, and then I thought about, so Nola struggles with lefties. Historically, Atlanta's actually been pretty decent against him, but it's obviously not the same full lineup. But I don't mind Greinke over there. Texas's struggles I mentioned. Yeah. They can work in strikeouts for a guy who doesn't strike to be out, and I feel really good about him having the chance at both the complete game. I'm sorry, not the complete game. The quality start and the win. If I like Houston also. So if you get the quality start and the win, boom, there's the bonus, 11 point, it's 12 points then. And even if he only strikes out 4 through 6, which would be a low end of what he would strike out here, I think that he still is very viable. He's not going to be the top guy over there, probably scoring wise, but I think he's actually fairly safe. And I think he has the upside to be the top guy if these Texas guys end up chasing a little bit too much early. You could see Greinke sneak in a 7-8K game with, no runs in 6 innings or 7 innings against a weak Texas lineup. That's completely on the board in my opinion. So I do like Greinke, and I think Sonny Gray's viable as well. How about you for FanDuel? Oh, and Trevor Williams, by the way, look, I don't love playing Trevor Williams. The guy's going to have an opportunity to pitch the innings. He hasn't mostly done it this year, but this is an Arizona team that chases early, even though they don't strike out a ton. They chase early in counts. I could see him easily walking into a quality start, and he's 6,600 if you wanted to build differently on FanDuel. But mostly, I'm usually on the side of just paying up for the best guy.
Yeah, I do like Greinke a little bit, but it just leaves me so much money because I kind of get some cheaper bats today. With some of the stack that I got going on. Tampa Bay is not bad for price. Baltimore's not bad for price. So maybe I'll have to find maybe like a Vlad one-off or something like that. We talked like Toronto one-off guy. Possible to throw in there to get some salary on the bats too. Yeah. I've been doing that a lot lately. The Vlad one-off has not worked the last couple of nights. It's not done me very well. So maybe today it will.
It's one of those things, like if you just keep playing the best hitters or, keep playing Vlad and Tatis, things are probably going to work out. Did I talk much about San Diego? Because I love San Diego.
No, you haven't said anything about him yet.
I didn't get to my top stacks, and they're sort of San Diego and the Reds one-offs are what I have as my priorities. But I love San Diego today. I think they haven't hit their full stride against this Miami team in terms of scoring runs yet. I think we see an outburst coming from them. They're not a team that gets held down very long. I like them when they're a little bit off the board. You've got a lousy
way off the board,
game. David Hess is going to be pitched. Other than Tatis, I don't see anyone really going to them. And I just love playing, what are they? I think power-wise, what are they, 3rd or 4th in baseball right now? Somewhere around there. I know it's not the great park and everything, but I think in terms of a team that I like, and I like them as a 5-man, by the way, on DraftKings. You can get Caratini cheap as your catcher. Minnesota is a weird one because they just almost got no hit and they don't have Nelson Cruz, but I actually kind of like Minnesota a little bit today. But those are the ones I'm sort of looking at that are not my main ones.
Yeah, those are off the board for sure. Off the board.
Yeah, although actually San Diego maybe end up being my main one, I think. So Skubal, I think, is just high variance. I like to play to answer that question. I think that he is just I don't know that I for some reason I like it, but I can't seem to click the button every time it comes down to it. But maybe I will. I might even play a chalky-ish stack and play Skubal and McKenzie together, because I think they're the same type of pitcher in the same type of situation. The difference is Skubal's got the extreme pitcher's umpire, while you have a neutral umpire for McKenzie. But it's a very, very similar situation to me. So that is where I stand with that. Let me jump over. Oh, look, another birdie for Kazire. That's good for me.
There you go, man. Making grounds.
Let's do it. I also think Ross Stripling is a good long shot play. Has had really tough matchups all year long. I think his stuff is still better than it looks like. It's hard to measure when you're always facing the Yankees and Red Sox and you're pitching in that tiny little stadium in Toronto. So I like Stripling going to the National League here. I think he's a good pitcher in real life, IRL. But I think instead of doing the Stripling thing, I think you can make an argument for Stripling versus Skubal. I'm just curious what the K prop is. I know Skubal's got 5.5, but I don't know what Stripling's is today. It's 5.5 as well, with a slight pitcher's umpire. So sort of like all those situations, I kind of think that's what I'm going to do with my secondary lineups, is get a little creative, take shots on these high upside pitchers who are basically going to be ignored because of the run totals. And by the way, I don't like stacking against means. He's still not fully back yet, but I do like some of the prices and some of the things you can get on this Washington lineup. And I also just think Soto at this point, he's turned back in. He's the other best hitter in baseball. It's him and right as the guys playing right now, in my opinion, it's Juan Soto and it's Vlad Guerrero as the best two hitters in baseball. Tatis the best, maybe all around players for DFS because he's going to steal you bases, but those are the best hitters in my opinion. Let's see, what else do I have here? I'm sorry about this. I'm just trying to get over. I'm just trying to edit this lineup because we're still here. Talk a little bit about some of the other pitchers you're using.
I'm paying up for pitching mostly. I'm not even Caleb Smith. I don't think you mentioned him, but he's cheap. He's probably going to be my SP2 with you on a few lineups. I'd like to go you and Nola, but I think it's going to be you and Caleb Smith. I like as well. He's projecting pretty good for me. So I don't know if were you on him at all?
Yeah, I'm on Caleb Smith. I don't love how many good righties they have, but it's with the win in Chicago, you got to give yourself a boost, right? That's a big deal. That means probably as much as anything means in baseball weather-wise ever. You know, if the wind's blowing in, it's a different game. Now, obviously, the winds change there more often than they do anywhere else in the world too. So keep that in mind. But it is, but I definitely like. I mean, I have him in my main lineup on DraftKings right now. So obviously I like him. I just feel a little. Let's say I don't feel great about it. I'd like to find another pivot to go to that. But again, all of these guys are high risk, and I feel like Caleb Smith when he's on is. And he's cheaper. He's as good or better than the other guys are. He's not going to get the win. Don't play him on FanDuel. You know what I mean? He's probably looking at a loss in this game. That team loses every game, but he's a guy who can pitch 6 innings and get 8 Ks for you at 7,400. That's very much on the table against the high strikeout Cubs team, although they're a little better against lefties, obviously, than they are against righties. I'm trying to get a Tampa stack here with the little Reds in one lineup at the moment because I didn't want to ignore Tampa. I agreed with your fondness for them, and always, we'd have no Low in the lineup, which does make me like them a little less. My favorite guy because you get the power speed upside. But you can play.
When he got projected out, like they didn't drop too much for projection wise, but yeah.
No, they don't. No, I know, but for DFS, we're not looking for. Remember, we're not looking for the lowest. We want the home runs and the stolen bases, and stolen bases aren't going to factor in as much to the total score.
Yeah, true. I still think they got three. They got some. Cruz is now the home run hitter right there, so he's one guy you want in your lineup. Although he didn't do me very well yesterday, but DFS is a by-day sport. So.
Oh no, it was the day before. Was it yesterday? Yesterday he hit one.
Did he end up hitting one late?
I thought he hit one early, actually. Maybe I'm getting here. Let me know.
Meadows went off for two.
No, you're right. He didn't. He hit one the day before. My fault.
Meadows had 2 homers yesterday, and he's the guy that I swapped off of Meadows and got. I get problem with all these outfielders are so good. You got an awful catcher slate today. I don't even know who to play for catcher on DraftKings. Just put him in your stack, right?
Stack or Jonah Heim at 2K.
Yeah.
That's what I would probably be doing. That's what I am doing, I guess I should say.
That's what I am. The Baltimore catcher is 2K as well. I mean, I don't know how well he projects up there, but If you're stacking.
Yeah.
Baltimore.
Let me make sure I get. Sorry, I've got to double check something here.
Yeah, I got Wims actually as the top point per dollar catcher. So
yeah. What's Wynn's price on DraftKings right now?
$2K.
Oh yeah, then wins I would have ahead of Heim for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, you can go with however you're stacking it, but
yeah,
I don't say Wins is very good. None of those catchers.
But I mean, but Heim. The one thing is Heim. If you're playing like a one-off, he's batting fifth at least, so you get some. Hey, he's gonna potentially bat with runners on base and have some opportunities. So those threes turns into fives, and maybe the 5 turns into a 7 or a 9. You know what I mean? But you're not looking at a huge power guy either way. Either way you do it. Let's see real quick. Okay, let's get these in here so I don't totally miss out. Okay. And real quick, let's take a look at you guys. Drop in some questions, guys. Neil, I know you want to. You have any general stuff? Ooh, up to 36th in the big one.
Making that money. Neil asked what Tampa players were on. I like Cruz. I like Meadows. Chow's cheap. However you say that. Troy. Yeah, he's cheap. And those 3 I'd have. Rosarena's not bad. He's got some power. So those are my main guys that I'd be on. Yeah,
I feel you. I do like the Wins Kesher thing. Let me just make sure I get that into one of my things. I think that you definitely there's a great case to be made for Baltimore. It's not the most fun team in the world to stack in general, but they're solid enough to where I definitely can get behind it. I just am not not in love. I do think these. I mean, it is weird because the Twins. I'm wondering where the ownership's going to be at on them because their lineup came out late. Early on, I know that there were some people who liked them, and I don't mind the fact they almost got no hit yesterday against a lefty. This is you've got Beria just coming back from the list. They're going to have probably Larnach will get ownership, probably Kepler, but I don't think you're going to see a whole lot elsewhere. And Donaldson maybe, but. I think Donaldson's a great play on both sides. He's going to be really popular, I think, on FanDuel, but not as much on DraftKings probably. So if you play, let's see, Mountcastle, because you can play Mountcastle and, like you said, over on FanDuel. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, Mancini, Mountcastle. I'm definitely having a tough time getting the combos in there a little bit with FanDuel right now.
Yeah.
But you're on Greinke, so you got a lot of salary to work with, so you should be able to get some decent bats in there to go with them on a stack.
Yeah, I think so. Boy, this Stripling thing is really intriguing me. Who did this? Stripling and Smith. Yeah, I think you can mess around a little bit with these high upside guys if you want to get different. Because I do think that look at the K props. They're all right there for all of them. You know what I mean? Even the guys who we're paying 10.5K for, you can pay for a guy who's 3,000 cheaper with a one less of a K prop. Now, obviously, there's other factors, but it's just something to consider. You know what I mean? And if we get 6 strikeouts from these guys, any of these guys with 5.5, and if you get it from both of them, God willing, you can actually there's a chance Caleb Smith, Ross Stripling, or Caleb Smith, Tristan McKenzie outscore Nola and you.
Yeah. I do like that. I could do a double cheap or double mid tier, and that's not a bad build.
Yeah. If you're playing Baltimore outside of the obvious catcher on DraftKings and Mountcastle, who are we looking to next? Who are the guys you've got in there? You got DJ Stewart, 2,500 batting cleanup. That's pretty enticing as a pivot off of Nate Quinn, and I think that I'm not even a pivot. He's just a good play. You got McKenna at 2K and Mullins at 4,900. I mean, Mullins is the expensive one who maybe gets left out a little bit.
You got that Franco for them is batting 5th too. I don't know. Did you say Franco?
Oh, yeah, there you go. That's a great one. I didn't say him actually.
Yeah, he's coming in more for me. Franco is than the other guy.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
The problem if you like him on FanDuel, there's so many outfielders, so then you got to kind of find more infielders for a different team to stack. But then if you're looking at Tampa Bay as well to stack, then you got outfielders there too. So it's
right.
You got either first base or outfield, and that's all the positions for Tampa and Baltimore. So you kind of got to figure out where you're going to go with the infield positions.
I hear you. Yeah. No, it's interesting for sure. Do you think Detroit's getting overlooked today a little bit?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the KC pitcher. He's only 5,200 on DK, but you think he's any good? I mean, they got a 5-run total for Detroit. Maybe they can keep the streak going and get to him.
Yeah, I think that I actually think you could make an argument for Lynch. Like, I mean, he's got a 4.5 K proc. He's 5,200. He doesn't have a whole lot long of a leash, but we've seen Detroit just roll over for 3 innings to start a game, and that'll just leave him in, even if he gets into a little trouble in the 4th and 5th, possibly. So maybe he gets through 5 to get you your 15 to 18 points, and that's a possibility against this Detroit team. I also think Detroit is a stack. It's just there's a lot of pitchers like that. Clearly, you and Nola are the best 2 pitchers on the slate, and I think I'm starting to lean towards in my main lineup. I'll do that, and I probably won't play them on DraftKings elsewhere. But I think there's an argument to be made for a guy like Daniel Lynch. I just think there's other guys in the mid-tier that all have so much more upside that I can take, or not even mid-tier, low-tier even-ish. Like Tristan McKenzie, like this happened before, and he was the highest scoring pitcher on the slate, and nobody played him at I think it was 6,700 or whatever that day. And it was against a good team too. I can't even remember. Let me just take a look at who it was. He had the no-hitter going through 6.5 or 6.5. Oh, it was against KC. It wasn't against a great team, but he had 9 Ks in 7 innings. That's sort of, if you look at his game log, you get the idea of what he can do. You're going to see 5 innings, 10 Ks, but still give it 5 earned runs, still put up 18 fantasy points against the White Sox. The guy's got dazzling stuff, and it wouldn't surprise me if he put up a big number today and got hit. Anyway, just want to throw that stuff out there for what it's worth.
Yeah, that's a good call. Oh man, DJ Stewart's nice price on FanDuel. If you guys are looking at that,
he's nice price on DK as well.
Yeah, and his DK as you said. So also, I think San Diego stack. That's fine to put Cartini in that stack. CP. He asked a question.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, I think Bobby said that earlier. He's playing Cartini. There's an option as well. Always include the catcher in your stacks. I like to do that. If you're not playing a couple of those 2K punt guys. Yep. Definitely include him in the stack.
I totally agree. Yep. 2,400. So I'm looking at stacking the San Diego infield again, which is a little shaky at times, but it allows you to I can pay both top pitchers, play the combination of the cheapies in the outfield. We have some good ones batting in the middle of the order in good spots. And then you could just play the infield of the Padres. You could play the infield of the Blue Jays. I think all of that is viable. Oh, I like this stack I've got. Oof. I've got a nice little 5-2. Look, how about that? My main stack today is a 5-2-1. Who says that? I'm telling you, I've got my ways of playing, but I'll mix it up if it's going to be a low-owned 5-man stack is a little different. Don't you agree? Because my reason for playing the 4-2 so often is to try and get different from the 5-mans of that combination. You know?
Yeah.
Now you don't need to if it's there. Was that you? So wait, what did you say? I didn't say anything about the Mets. I have no interest in the Mets whatsoever personally today.
Oh yeah, I think I answered. Yeah, no Mets.
Yeah. So CP says if he's stacking San Diego, do I think it's okay to go 8 carries? Oh yeah, we talked about it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was trying to answer the questions in the chat for everybody a little bit too. I was trying to type in the chat. That's why I think I sent you a private message. I don't know how to type in the chat though. I don't know why.
You have to be so it's on different platforms, but the one most people are watching it is on YouTube. So you probably have to open the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And do it. Sorry.
Well, usually I know it lets you type in the chat on the restream, but I didn't know.
Only the person who's hosting it will.
Okay.
Somebody else. I don't know. I haven't been able to. Sheets tried to do it with me, and I couldn't do it either. So I had to open the YouTube. But it's you got. I love this. We're all in sync, guys. Everybody asks questions that I'm already trying to answer with what I'm saying. So we got the San Diego question answered. The Twins lefties. I'm a big fan. K9 Bronco. I also don't find myself needing to it's not my favorite thing to do, but I do like them. So I'm completely on board with you there. If you want to go that route, especially Larnage, he's my favorite of 2,800, obviously, but not just being 2,800. I just like him. So I really want to go with Nolan. You know what? I think I might be different and just stick with this Sonny Gray on FanDuel thing. I'm sorry, Greinke.
I just switched off of you and Nola. I needed a little bit extra to get up to Cruz on that utility spot. So I got off of Nola and I went to got enough for Cruz.
There you go. I
So
mean, I think it's
paid me 700.
it feels terrible to play Greinke sometimes in GPPs. This is not one of those. Like I'm willing to, even though it doesn't always work. Look, sure, but in general, pitching pitchers against Texas works. You know, Caleb Smith. The problem with him on FanDuel is that he's not going to probably get the win. I do think he's got an excellent chance at a quality start. He actually got a win in his last start. Even he's pitched so many good games over the course of forever, and he's between the Marlins and Cardinals. This guy's going to be like one of the best losing pitchers of all time. I'm starting to lean like I might go Rays. I really wish Meadows was in that lineup. I'm sorry, Lau, because it also does change the possible pinch hit risk for. I don't think I'm playing the bad ones anyway, but it does sort of annoy me a little bit, you know.
You're talking for FanDuel? Yeah, I've actually got off him a little bit more for FanDuel, the Rays a little bit. I ended up putting a Boston stack, 4-man Boston, 3-man Baltimore, and using Cruz as a one-off on that. So 4-3-1 with your man Greinke up top.
Let's go, Greinke. Let's do it.
It kind of fit in a little bit on the build.
By the way, when Kyle Tucker is making contact lately, he's scorching the ball. So I actually like Kyle Tucker the best, even on FanDuel. Yeah. I like Alvarez as well, but he's more expensive than Alvarez. And if you we're going to play a one-off from Houston or something, I would play Kyle Tucker. I think he's just like red hot right now. I don't need to play Vlad. Larnach, I can play in the outfield here. Sorry,
yeah. Donaldson's a good 3K play on FanDuel coming in at. I'm getting a lot of Moncastle and Mancini. Otani's a little priced up over there, but I mean, he's chalky today too. He's coming in like 29% on FanDuel. Wow. Otani.
People just try to play him, and I don't really blame them entirely. What I would say about him is that would first of all, he's a mediocre non-power hitter. He's an amazing power hitter, which is what we want for DFS. That's obviously true. But I think people are trying to adjust and not really let him hit the ball as much. Now, he's not taking as many walks as I would have expected for this part of the year. But I think that you're gonna see people not trying to mess with him quite as much. Just my opinion going forward. Whereas a guy like Soto, I mean, Otani's amazing. You could argue you could argue that he's by far the best player in baseball because of his pitching.
Yeah.
But I think Soto is the best hitter, not named Vlad in baseball.
Yeah, now you didn't talk about Washington a lot, but they've
John
popped up. What?
John Means is a good pitcher.
You like him?
He's good for real. He's like for real good.
I mean he's good, but they weren't way down on the stack projections, so I don't know what happened, but recently they've popped up on my list here.
Great hitting spot. I love the one-offs from Washington. He's not fully stretched out. He's only pitched the one game in the last 2 months. Almost. So I'm a fan of taking some bats against him. I don't think I'll be fully stacking. You could argue for a full stack because that bullpen's awful anyway behind him. Maybe that also forces them to leave him out there a little longer. But I don't think I'm iffy on the stack. I have one in a cheaper buy-in, and I have some Soto Turner combinations as two men in part of
I definitely didn't get to any Washington. I was just noticing as they've been upgraded a little bit on the list of mine here. So definitely don't have any. A couple, like you said, a couple of the bigger bats are projecting. Very expensive on DK though.
Yeah.
So, lower owned. Well, man, not that low owned, but all right.
You want to play the really chalky stuff on FanDuel. I'm just gonna say there's plenty. The way you get different, play Tristan McKenzie as your start SP on FanDuel if you want to get crazy. Play Trevor Williams. No, I'm serious. There's as much as there's merit for taking bats against, especially McKenzie, there is a ton of upside with this kid every time he pitches. I like Tampa bats. I'm siding with that. But I'm just saying if you have a chalky stack and you don't know how to get off of it, you don't want to just change to one of the ones we talked about, play McKenzie. I like Trevor Williams. I think he has probably a more likely chance to have a decent game here. But I think that if you're talking about having a great game, like McKenzie could be the highest scoring pitcher on the slate and he's 6,900. He really could be. He's got the stuff to do it. So he'd be my long shot guy on FanDuel if you're going to have a chalky stack. thanks to you, K9 Bronco. Thanks to everybody tuning in. Let's just take a quick look. See, we got a couple lineups in. Cleveland's lineup came out. No, I missed yesterday mostly because I was out. But so Franmil Reyes is. So wait a minute. Who's pitching for? So now I like Yarborough on FanDuel. Think about this. So Yarborough, you just lost Jose Ramirez and Franmil Reyes, probably the two biggest threats in the lineup to an already somewhat shaky lineup. Yarborough's only 7,400 over there. He hasn't been starting as much. They've been using him in that bullpenish, long relief. Not really bullpenish, just coming in the second, third inning. But his last, 4 outings, he's pitched over 5 innings in all of them. You've now got a really weak lineup against him. I think Yarborough is an interesting play, and I don't think anyone's doing that, right? I haven't seen anything about that.
Nothing. He 2%. Yeah, very low owned.
Mm-hmm. That's an interesting spot. I wish that Tampa's bullpen. The problem is Tampa's bullpen is so freaking good. Like if you play Yarborough from a game theory perspective, you should be trying to play him with. If you're going to make Tampa stacks and you're going to play Yarborough in general, and you're making multiple lineups, play Yarborough in those lineups with Tampa Bay. Because you want them to have a big lead so they don't have to go to that awesome bullpen. If they're up 1-0 after 5 innings and he gets in trouble in the 6th and they pull him because they're awesome bullpen, then you're screwed. But if they're up 11-0, even if the bases are loaded and nobody's out, they're going to let him finish the inning and get the win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's just what I always try to do. It's really interesting to have pitcher lineup correlation. Boy, that's interesting to me. I mean, it's honestly, you is so much better of a play on paper than all of these guys. Yeah. And there's value to get him in with good hitters. So it's tricky. Tricky not to play him.
It's a hard slate today. Yeah.
The only thing is you look at him, his first game back after the COVID, he didn't look as fresh. They pulled him a little bit early. He gave up 4 hits and 2 walks, and yet they still didn't even let him get the quality start against Atlanta. It wasn't like he was pinch hit for either because he was, it was 5 2/3. So he was still on the mound. It's a little bit there's your argument for trying to fade him, and your argument for Nola as the lefties on. I currently have him in my main build on DraftKings. And I'm thinking, this is something I wanted to ask you about, Rody. Like, let's say you're playing just 2 lineups, 1 on each side. It's very easy if I'm playing 3 lineups. I can just go ahead and play, one of Nola on that. I would go to Nola probably on FanDuel for safety-ish, safety and upside. But if I'm only playing 2 lineups overall and I've got you and Nola in one of them, wouldn't it then would you then want to pivot, or would you then, if in a situation like this, would you want to, take a shot on one of these other guys, or would you still just stick to one of those 2?
I like taking a shot. I like switching it up. Yeah, definitely switch it up. Because if you're you and Nola more on DK and the other ones, that's why I kind of went with your idea of Greinke, or you go with that Harborough, because you're different on FanDuel now, and you got your DK and then you got your FanDuel a little bit different. So I like that idea.
Yeah, I wish we had a K prop. I appreciate that. I appreciate that thought. I'd love to see a K prop on Yarborough for this game. Because honestly, it's like if it was not that they're gospel, but he hasn't struck out enough guys recently. But this is a really watered down Cleveland lineup. I mean, my first that would be a bet that I didn't put out there, but I would now make that bet. Even though I like Tampa Bay, I think there's a good chance they go off, but I still think the under wins more often than not in that Tampa Bay Cleveland game. Just because of you have you have 3 of the top 6-7 hitters in the game out all of a sudden today when the original projections were released. So you're getting a little bit of edge over the field if you want to make just a straight bet that way. Even though again, I do like Tampa. But Tampa could win 9-0 too.
Yeah.
And it still doesn't hit.
What do you got? You got that San Diego stack too and something, right? Don't you?
Yeah, that's my main stack on DraftKings.
Yeah, I haven't figured out I have one more team to build yet, and I'm trying to figure out where do I want to go with it. You playing any of the 762? What do you got going on today for content?
Yeah, I'm just playing 762. There was only the 121 other than that, and then I played a bunch of the 18 and stuff like that. I think, and then the 66. I played a few in the 66. Maybe just one in the 66. There wasn't as many great tournaments by the time I actually had signed up. Like they don't have the 250 today. I usually would get at least a couple entries into there on a day like today. And all right, let's see. I'm struggling with this decision here.
Yeah, I have to build an entire lineup. Yeah, I'm
All
struggling.
right, let's do it. So we talked about San Diego. We talked about the Rays. Talked about a little bit about Minnesota. Talked a little bit about Baltimore. All of those seem pretty viable to me. I'm actually starting to lean a little bit more towards the Baltimore side.
Yeah, I got Baltimore with my Boston call out. That's kind of my team. I don't know. They fit better together. Rays were in Baltimore, hard to fit. I mean, you could do it, but I was struggling. I kind of like Padres popped up a little bit here towards the list too. So there's some teams that popped up a little bit better. They're just expensive. Padres are expensive. Blue Jays are expensive. We didn't like them.
Mm-hmm.
Your Cubs have popped up a little bit against Smith too, so that's a little worrisome for me.
It's
like you said.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bats on the Cubs, so
it's the wind though. Like I'm not. You're never going to find me taking if the wind's 10 miles an hour, or even anything over like 6, blowing in Chicago. I'm never going to take bats in that game. I'll be wrong sometimes. It'll change sometimes. The wind. I'm just not doing it.
Yeah,
that's just me.
It's true.
But I mean, look, I'm the guy who's been all over the Cubs in general. I mean, I love Wisdom. In general, though, the one thing is like these guys do strike out at a decent clip. So like Wisdom as a guy who strikes out 42% of the time. So when I want to take him, I usually want him against a pitcher who's a low K guy, which Caleb Smith is not. He's actually a pretty high K pitcher for his career, and he's more than a strikeout an inning, and probably I don't know what he is this year, but has been above 30 or in the 30 range in the past. But it's always weird with him because he always gets injured, then has this 2 and 3 inning outings, and it's confusing.
You got any mid-tier pitcher builds? Like you ever think about putting Smith or Stripling together? Or are you going to pay one high and one mid-level?
I've got a Stripling. I've got a McKenzie Skubal. I've got a Stripling Skubal. I'm sorry, a Stripling McKenzie. And I've got a couple. You know what I'm going to do? I've got my main lineup have the U and Nola, so I'm going to probably switch those over to just that same mid-ish build.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, so you do have some of that. You have a lot of that mid-tier then build. Then go on.
But not in my not in my huge buy-ins. To be honest, in my huge buy-ins, I'm using the chalk Nola Darvish on DraftKings, and on FanDuel I haven't decided. Oh, Larnach is out of the lineup. What happened? Well, okay, I like Minnesota less. Well, actually, Minnesota's still fine, but I'm definitely lower on them. So we got to get Mullins out of the lineup. We got to get him out of the lineup. That makes my decision a little bit easier to not be so interested in stacking that team. I'm just going to swap DJ Stewart in for the lineups that they're not together. Still like Kepler a lot. Still like some of the Donaldson, but I don't think I'm interested quite as much in fully stacking because Larnach was a part that made it work really nicely. So not as interested as I was. I'm not swapping a player for the same. Oh, here we go. Larnach. Okay. How many people are going to be playing the Naquin Stewart Aquino lineup? That's what my thing is on DraftKings right now, just to give it away. Pretty easy to tell what I'm doing if you listen to what I said. My main lineup, but I can't show it, obviously. I'd love to be able to tell you guys almost every exact thing, but Teoscar versus JD Martinez straight up. It's always going to be JD for me, but I do like Teoscar as well. How about you?
What was the question? Sorry.
Teoscar versus JD.
Ooh, I got JD today, but I like T. I play a lot of him.
I do too. I just think today I've got that's where I'm at too. JD is just. I mean, look. I think that Teoscar is a great hitter, but if we ever have situations where it comes down to similar run totals, great matchups for both, unless you're stacking. If you're going to play a one-off, take the guy who's just the much better hitter, in my opinion. Who's in a much better hitting. You have the second worst hitters park in baseball. in New York, and you have the best hitters, the third best hitters park in baseball in Boston.
Yeah.
Damn. Kepler, JD, Devers. Let's get a little Devers action going here. I do actually have a Boston stack now. And by the way, the other guy who I haven't heard a lot of people talk about, but I'm sure he's getting played, is Carla Stanton.
I haven't heard much either.
Was that?
Haven't heard much of his name lately either. So
yeah.
Today.
They're a full go in New York. They're fully ready. You know, they've got their guys. They got Glaber back, which just adds another good bat to the lineup. Sanchez, thought was going to be out. He's in. I don't love stacking fully against Martin Perez, but I love taking power bats against him, especially in Boston or New York. But it's in Boston today, so obviously that's. Yeah, I sort of like this McKenzie Stripling long shot tournament winner kind of a thing.
Well, you know,
hey,
I like it. I like it.
It's baseball. It's one day. It's not going to be today with Rich Hill, but there's going to be a time where Rich Hill is going to be like 60-something hundred, and he's going to win. I mean, he's going to be the highest scoring pitcher one of these slates to end the year. I'm not going to say lock it up, but he'll be he'll be the best point per dollar guy a number of times, is my guess, if he stays in this range. He'll also have some times where he comes out after a third of an inning with a blister. He does that all the time. It drives me nuts.
Oh.
Okay, I'm just looking at this. I actually have Teoscar and JD in my secondary lineup build on DraftKings.
I'm not playing the higher buy-ins, but I think I'm going to get a mid-tier pitcher on one of them.
I like it.
I'll build. I think you talked me into it.
I mean, I still prefer that. I think the top guys are so easy to get to.
No, you said the top guys, are so easy to get in, but man, I want to play some of these bigger bats.
Yep.
If you're playing a Padres stack, I mean, you're going with Cartini at catcher, obviously. I think you said maybe you switched it up, but
yeah, I am playing Caratini at catcher. I have one Padres stack where because I am using the outfielders in one of them and I'm not in the other one.
Oh, okay.
I have Wins and Mountcastle and I don't usually love the 9-hitter as a part of a mini stack, but if it's a catcher, I'm willing to forgo it. That makes sense to you. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So that's just the way that I'm approaching it.
No, I don't mind that Mountcastle, obviously, because I got him on FanDuel.
Yeah, and people aren't going to play him as much on DraftKings. He'll still have some ownership, but it's not going to be as high as it will be on FanDuel.
Yeah, that's for sure. Ooh.
Guys, ain't dropping any more questions. We're getting close to lock, and I'm going to have to go to my FanDuel lineup. I still haven't finished my actual build yet.
No, that's how I am here. So I'm doing it.
1, 2, 3. God, it would be so nice if Brandon Lau was playing today. None of like I can't find a second baseman that fits into any of the stacks that I'm going for here with the 3-3-2, and it's frustrating.
So yeah, I think second baseman. Yeah, that was my last spot too. That's why I switched to Boston, because I could get Hernandez. He's cheap. Yeah, he was.
Wait,
yeah, Kiki.
Oh, yeah. Kike Hernandez. But on FanDuel, he's only what is he now? He's only outfield, right?
No, he switched back, I think.
Oh no, he's 3,400 though. He's a little more expensive on FanDuel.
Oh yeah, he's a little more expensive.
Yeah,
but I mean, he's one of my top projections on FanDuel.
Yeah.
India, Kiki, Semien.
Wow, that surprises me actually.
Yeah, he's popping over here on my list here. So yeah, so
1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see.
Popping. I don't like this build either, though.
Cruz, Mancini, instead of Mullins. Play. Not Tucker.
Keep getting a lot
I can't believe I'm actually choosing Tucker over Alvarez at the same price, but I'm going to do it. Yeah, Tucker looks just dialed in lately. Bryce Harper is a great one. I mean, all these guys actually make a lot of sense. You know who I didn't get to? I'm pissed off at myself for not. I'm not playing the Phillies, and I just feel like that's going to be going to come back to haunt me. But just throwing it out.
Yeah, They're high up on the projection list too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna be my biggest downfall too.
Mullins.
Get him in there if you can.
Yep.
I don't know what to do.
I'm really stuck in one spot here. I might just have to leave a little bit on the table. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna just play a 3-3. I think so. As I'm doing the 5-man on DraftKings, I'm doing a 3-3-2 on FanDuel.
I don't mind it though. I like it.
3-3-2s, by the way, have been pretty nuts on.
Pretty popping, yeah. I'm like yesterday when Crew's doing nothing, So if you play in Tampa and you got him there, you're still 4 guys doing good and him doing nothing.
Right.
So like these bigger stacks of 4, 2-2s or 3-3-2 are doing better. You're just getting the 3 right guys.
Right.
5-mans are hard to hit right now for some odd reason.
Right.
I don't know what's going on. Been a different type of baseball lately.
That's for sure.
All went downhill after the sticky stuff for me.
You were making it fun with that sticky stuff.
Yeah. Oh man, dude.
Yeah, great. My main build on FanDuel. I can't believe it's going to be one of those where I feel like an idiot for playing Greinke at 700 less than Nola. But at the same time, I actually think there's some blow up potential for Nola. Nola's, clearly the better GPP player always, but I really feel good about Greinke against these Rangers the way they're going right now.
I hope, man. I got him in my big build. I'm listening. Listening to our talk today.
Yeah, I feel weird about it. I almost feel like telling you not to because I'm nervous. I don't want to steer someone in a weird direction, but that is what I'm doing. Okay, hold on. Let me get rid of this. I have a full format. I don't. 3-2-2-1. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, on FanDuel, I'm doing the 4-3-1, which I kind of gave it out earlier. What I was doing with the Greinke on top.
Yeah,
I like that. It came together pretty nice. Not saying it's going to be super good. JD has a one-off. I like it. CP.
This is really frustrating me here.
Actually, let me look at that. Yeah, you're running down to minutes now, my guy.
I've got too much money to spend here.
That's why I said if you start dipping down on lower pitchers, you got a lot of money left over. I was going in my last guy with like 5,600 left on FanDuel. I'm like, dude, there's not even anybody close to that.
I'm going 3-3-1-1 with the 2 top most expensive players.
Yeah, and projection-wise too, JD is over Tio on my projection CPs, if that helps you a little bit. But that's who I got. I got him too. So let's roll it. A little Boston. I made a Padres stack. Hope to not compete with you.
What's that? So we're gonna look at us. Let's go. This is our day to go 1-2. We're enough on the same page today to do it. I'll tell you what. I'll let you have the ones as long as I win the golf one. How about that?
Yeah, you can take the golf one down.
Okay. 6 is not going to happen for you anyway. The 4 of 6 is going to be tough considering I have all 4 of the guys you've got, and I've got a 6 of 6 on that one, on the $15 or whatever, the millionaire, or the 200K. Guys, hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate everybody being here. Rody, can't thank you enough for being here. We have to talk a little bit more this week about we'll figure something out because you've been doing a lot for us, and we really appreciate having you. It's been great for the chat and great for everybody, so I appreciate it.
All right, man. Thanks for having me again. We hit lock just now, guys. So good luck today in your contest.
Good luck.
Let's get after it.
And let's get lucky. Let's go Kazire and everybody else I need in golf. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck.